Hi, Steve. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
So, you said that the moderator will be Pak Nizar, right?
That's right, sir.
Right. So, we will run the show at 9 o'clock. So, I don't think that we can delay the show.
Oh, really? Oh, wait a minute, sir. I will call him again.
All right. It's 5 minutes before the show. Then I have to be ready, and the moderator should be ready as well. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Lala and everyone here. Mr. Niza just arrived at campus and will join the Zoom soon. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cek, Assalamualaikum, eh Pak Lala dan kawan-kawan mahasiswa. Mohon maaf, saya agak telat tadi, sedang di perjalanan.
All
Saya
right.
kebetulan lagi menuju ke kampus, Pak. Jadi saya ininya di kampus langsung.
Okay, no worries.
Sebentar saya nyalakan kamera dulu, Pak. Kameranya
Okay,
soalnya
sure.
karena sebentar. Loh, kameranya hilang ya? Loh, sementara pakai ini dulu dah. Kita mulai bareng kali, Pak.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we are going to have another agenda and another episode of ELTRIS English Language Teaching Innovation Series. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the eighth episode. And starting from now, ten, 10th episode of ELTRIS. And starting from now, inshallah, we are going to be more consistent on every month. We are going to have different speakers. And this is also the second episode of 2025. And first of all, thank you very much for joining the L3 session. I'm sorry if I joined the session a bit late because I was on the way to the campus, and I'm now in the campus because I have a proposal seminar today, and also I'd like to extend my gratitude for the head of English language teaching department and also secretary of English language teaching department of um, UIN Siber Sehnuljati Cirebon. And also, I would like to extend my gratitude also for the head and chief of editor-in-chief of ELT Echo Journal, Pak Lala Sudimantara, PhD, um, and also at the same time, the representative probably from Asia Asia Call ya Pak.
Yeah.
And Falala will be also the speaker for this session. And without further ado, please welcome Pak Lala Sudimantara as a PhD for delivering his talk. Thank you, Pak.
All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone.
Waalaikumsalam.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning,
Allah.
dear ladies and gentlemen, and also to all my students. Welcome to my show. Welcome to my talk. And I feel very honored to be here with you all. So this morning, serving multiple role. Number one, my role is as the chief editor of ELT Echo Journal. We established the MOU with Asia Call probably less than 2 years ago. But now we have an MOU between SSC and also with Asia Call. Yeah, we signed the document 2 months ago, actually. And my second role here is the senior lecturer of ELT department of WIN SSC. And my third role here is the representative of Asia Call, the Asia Association of Computer Assisted Language Learning. And my fourth role is the director of international office and partnership of this university. So I'm very happy to share with you about what I have been doing in the last 2 months. So part of this talk have been presented in a joint conference at Camp TESOL workshop, actually, between Asia Call and Camp TESOL last month. And some of my talk today also have been presented in my upcoming book to be published by Palgrave UK. And then some of my talk today will also be presented in my keynote speech at Charles Darwin University, Australia, next month, inshallah. So yes, we will be talking about filling the text, decoding emotions and aesthetics with artificial intelligence. But actually, my focus is not solely on AI per se, but I am going to take you further into the development of augmented intelligence or alternative intelligence. Okay. So the reason why I urge you all to come to my show is that we need to set a new interdisciplinary mindset on how we arrange our teaching and learning philosophy at the department. Well, text is not only structured, but is also felt. And the magic that I have seen in the last 2 years is, well, GPT can help us identify emotions in the text. Quen is much even more powerful in identifying emotions. But we cannot simply set a very, low standard in how we teach with AI. So yes, we can identify the text, we can identify the emotions, we can identify the aesthetics, neurological principles of aesthetics by Ramachandra, for example, but that's not actually the end in itself. The true end of teaching, learning of English is actually semiosis, which is actually meaning-making process, and meaning-making process is always based on a higher quality of interpretation. So in my talk today, I will mention some key points that are relevant in how I develop my AI enhanced teaching. So there is a very rigid integration between two learning tools that I developed in Australia a couple of years ago, Reading for Emotions and Aesthetics. And now I am integrating it with ChatGPT and Quen, and I came up with very sophisticated results. I'll show you later. But first thing first, let me share with you some of the great news that I have today, everyone. So our book will be soon published by Palgrave UK, and the title of the book is Multisensory Computer-Assisted Language Learning for Under-Resourced Universities and Schools in Indonesia. For me, this is a very big milestone as a researcher, as a scholar at UIN Sayabercah Cirebon, because publishing in UK is very challenging. My book was reviewed by the best professors around the world. It was reviewed by a professor in UK, in the USA, and also in Australia, and also in Hong Kong. So now we have completed the metadata approval for the release of the ISBN. And this book will be released after Lebaran, inshallah. So for me, it's also a clear indicator that I'm going to develop a new expertise here at the department. So later, I will not be, I will not be called Professor Pendidikan Bahasa Inggris. That's too general. But my new expertise will be said, well, Lala Bumila Sudimantara is a professor of multisensory computer-assisted language learning. So I think that's why I'm picking the title. I'm choosing the title that is relevant with my expertise. So soon after my PhD, my mission is to develop this new expertise during my career here at UNSSC. And our upcoming article will be published by Learning and Individual Differences Journal, Q1 Index Journal. The title is Synthesizing Generative AI and Load Reduction Instruction to Optimize Students' Learning. Also in this paper, I work with Professor Martin from UNSW, also from my new colleagues, Rebecca Colley and Roger Cannott, Daniel Liu, Paul Gins from School of Education and Social Work at the University of Sydney, Australia. And also I'm working with a new colleague from Norway, Lilith. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. It's a bit complicated. Roshan Poller. From Norwegian University of Science and Technology in Norway. And another good news is, everyone, we will be sending 4 best students of Tadris Bahasa Inggris to Australia next month. So we have here Farah Cyril from semester 6, and also Arfan and Arifin from semester 4, and they've been working with me probably in the last 1 year here at the international office, and we are very proud to announce that those students are shortlisted as the participants of the student exchange program from UNSSC, and they will be presenting their papers on AI enhanced text analysis. So Farah will share her research ideas on AI enhanced text analysis on the student scriptsy of the students in our department. Cyril will be talking about how emotions are examined in typically Cirebonese folklores. And then the 2 brothers here, Arfan and Arifin, will give a talk on how AI enhanced analysis using reading for emotions and aesthetics can inform the analysis of abstracts from Sinta Dua publications. So inshallah, we will be flying probably on the 15th or 16th of April 2025. And we are still waiting for the state permit from Jakarta, and then we will be working on the visa and other stuff. So yeah, we are now in the final preparation of the program, and this is going to be the first batch of the student exchange program. Next year, we will be sending probably 4 or 5 students also to fly to different universities in Australia. Maybe we can send our best students to Darwin, to Sydney, to Melbourne, to Perth, or to Adelaide. That will be a very interesting experience for all of you, right? You haven't even completed your bachelor degree, but if you are studying at UIN, Cyber Technology Cirebon, you can be shortlisted as the candidate for the student exchange program. And do we have another good news? Yes. This year, our university will be hosting the 22nd International Conference of Asia Cool. It will last for 3 days, actually, from the 14th to 16th of November 2025. But we will have actually a week-long international programs. So Professor Andrew Lyon, Anya Lyon, and Professor Jeremy White, Professor Ho, Professor Shamim from Malaysia, and Hassan Kasraifi from Queensland University will be coming here to Cirebon, and they will give uh, uh, different topics on cyber education, on digital learning, on AI, and also we can prepare our best manuscripts for Q1 publications. And we will run also some workshops for students and also for teachers. And another good thing is that we will also have Asia Gold publication for English teachers SMP in SMP of Kabupaten Cirebon. So we are now selecting the best articles written by Bapak Ibu Guru Bahasa Inggris in SMP, MGMP SMP Bahasa Inggris Cirebon, and the book will be published by Asia Cole, and I'm going to be one of the editors of the book. So that's another good news. So my talk today is actually an initial warm-up phase for the conference, and my book will also be relaunched by Asia Cole later in the conference, and I do hope that the Bapak Ibu dosen jurusan will also publish their book or books by Asia Cole, which is actually relevant with the theme, right? Because we will be talking about AI in language education, opportunities, challenges, and future direction. So, Issa and friends, you have to share these great news to the audience once the show is over. All right, now, everyone, let me share another good news regarding my personal reflection. So I always start my talk with a very deep reflection because it is basically a form of philosophical foundation that I'm building for myself. So I've been doing a lot of research since I returned to Indonesia 3 years ago. And this is actually one of the highlights taken from my book. I will first read it out loud to all of you, okay? So, critical thinking thrives in dynamic curricula. At its core, critical thinking hinges on interpretation, which serves as the bedrock for meaning making or semiosis. As Sudimantara emphasizes, this interpretative process is fundamental to understanding and engaging with complex ideas. By fostering an environment that encourages questioning, analysis, and reflection, we can cultivate a generation equipped with the skills necessary to navigate an ever-evolving world. So there are actually several points that I'd like to address. Number one, we can never talk about critical thinking if the curriculum is fixed or static. There's nothing you can do. I mean, people keep talking about critical thinking, but they keep using the very same curriculum. They keep using the same textbook. They keep using the same references in their teaching. That's completely static curriculum. How can we foster critical thinking? Because critical thinking requires open-mindedness. Critical thinking requires a new mindset, a new interdisciplinary mindset, right? And then, yeah, also people keep talking about entrepreneurship. Well, we can promote our students to become entrepreneur in the future only and if only we have a very dynamic curriculum. So I think right now we need to create a very solid curricula that is based on interdisciplinary mindset. That's the truest part of, critical thinking. And number two, we can never foster the critical thinking attitude and aptitude in our class if the teachers or professors never orient themselves to the teaching that fosters interpretation. So reading for emotions and aesthetics in my class, particularly in my class, have been used to foster interpretative capabilities. That's very important. If you keep asking why Palala are always talking about emotions and aesthetics now, well, the reason is those tools can help students to make a lot of interpretation. If you stop interpreting things, then language learning becomes memorized, not embodied. Okay? The true knowledge is always embodied, but false fake knowledge is always memorized. So that's the very, philosophical approach that I have right now. And number three, we need to set the learning environment where teachers, professors, students can work with complex ideas. Okay, so you have to create a new linkage, probably between grammar and intonation and emotion. That's very complex. I want you to address the complexities of pedagogy, curriculum, assessments, technology, human agency. That's very complex. So if you come up with some monolithic ideas about research, I might not like it. All right. And in the 21st century, the quality of critical thinking is very important. Why? Because we have to make ourselves relevant all the time. If you stop asking good questions, if you stop doing the proper analysis, if you stop doing the reflective works in your profession, then you can never cultivate a new generation equipped with the skills necessary to navigate the world, a new evolving world. Okay, we keep talking about what? Soft skills. What are soft skills if you don't have this interpretive task? So in my class, I'm using aesthetics and emotions. Well, they amplify each other to help us interpret what is actually going on in the text, because I always believe that meaning does not reside in the text. It resides in our head, so we have to create meaning. That's the true semiosis definition for me. And these are probably the points I'd like to address of my talk. I will start off, by addressing the AA competency frameworks for teachers. So it's solely a matter of, promoting global policy intent. If you are a professional, then you have to link your profession into the current policy, global policy. What does the global policy say? You can download the document for free on UNESCO web, and it only consists of 52 pages, and it was released in 2024. Okay, and the rest of the presentation will be more about my missions that I have to complete during my career here at the UNSSC. So I will be talking about the importance of promoting human-centric learning, where I will be focusing on the emotions and the brain. And I will also be talking about on brain-informed learning tools, the reading for emotions and aesthetics, because back in the period of 2017 up to 2021, I worked with these tools, but without the assistance of AI at all. But now we have AI that can help us to analyze vast amount of information, and AI are very good at doing the predictive analysis, right? So that's what I'm doing in my class. I'm encouraging my students to be assisted by AI to help them create their predictive intuitions, because predictive intuition is part of the semiosis. Okay, and I'm going to show you some practical implications using AI enhanced reading, and we've got some conclusions at the end of the talk. All right, so everyone, this is a short story about AI competency framework for teachers as well. This is very relevant with our status right now, right? UIN Celebration Menjadi Cirebon. What do you guys learn at UIN Celebration Menjadi Cirebon if you don't learn this thing? Well, UIN Celebration Menjadi Cirebon, probably we cannot develop our open source AI yet because it costs so much, right? But we can develop a very specific competency framework, AI competency framework for future teachers, okay? With some integration of brain-informed learning tools. Okay, so we've got aspects, and we've got also progression. And at the end of the show, we can probably address the importance of AI pedagogy, right? And AI pedagogy, as mentioned in the document, proposes a set of competencies required for purposeful and effective teaching and learning. And we can also use this AI pedagogy to support, course preparation and the teaching, the learning, the socialization, the social caring, and also the learning assessment. Okay, but here I'm not going to talk about how we can create contents using AI now. It's pretty much traditional because my focus is on the development of higher order thinking skills, which is based on the interpretation using the two integrated learning tools here. Okay, so let me just go back to my earlier talk, I don't know, a year ago or 2 years ago, but we have perfected the references in terms of emotions and the brain. If you ask me what emotions, this is the most complete summary that I can share with you all. So emotions serve as the brain's mechanism for prioritizing and structuring information, allowing us to discern the relevance and create meaning. And emotions are foundational to cognition, not the other way around. Well, you can read hundreds or even thousands neuroscientific articles and books and blogs and vlogs. You will come up with this idea. And our brain actually processes emotions. Our brain does not process grammar in a way grammarian analyzes grammar, to tell you the truth. And so every time we write something is actually driven by emotions. Okay. How about grammar emotion connection? Well, to give you a clue, grammar is actually secondary to emotion, not the other way around. So you need to develop a new approach to grammar and emotion, because that will be interesting. I have not touched upon that particular part, but when I was in Darwin, Australia, I can see that there are some grammatical differences or even lexical-grammatical differences, if you want to, which are fundamentally driven by emotions. Okay, maybe we can talk about that in different workshops. And we also have perfected our references here, everyone.
I'm sorry, Pak Lala.
We've been trying to make it more, yes, Pak Nizar?
It seems the slide doesn't move.
Oh,
Have you
I
have you
think
moved
we're
it?
having a problem with the internet connection.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, but let me just first continue, okay? So, yeah, I actually moved the slide already. Um, Professor Jacques Pansep, okay, so describes emotions as primary organizers of cognition, shaping perception, memory, and behavior. And emotions determine what we pay attention to and how we interpret its experiences. So that's very, fundamental for life, okay? And Damasio explains how emotions structure decision making and memory. Even our memory is driven by emotions. And Max Solms, well, he's from Germany, but he is now a professor in the South Africa. And you can also download the book, okay? So Max Solms says learning entails the establishment of associations between interoceptive drives, which are our emotional circuits, and exteroceptive representations that categorized, guided by the feelings that are generated in such encounters. So this enables the subject to feel its way through novel situations. The effective presence of the subject is required to do so, and the effective presence of the subject is essential. So meaning is not a mechanical phenomenon. It is an affective phenomenon. You see? Now I'm taking you to the world of affective neuroscience. So anyone undermining emotions will not be successful in their learning because, it's very fundamental. And I will not explain in detail about this, everyone. But the concept of the text that we've been trying to contextualize in effective neuroscience goes like this. So texts are not only structured, but also they are felt. We can structure and feel the text at the same time. So reading writing for me is an emotional journey where meaning emerges from shifts in emotional tone rather than structural correctness. We've been focusing so much on the grammatical, linguistic, or structural correctness for so many years, so for many centuries. But now we're talking about creativity. How can you go creative? How can we be creative if we simply focus on lexical, grammatical correctness, everyone? In terms of coherence, so actually coherence comes from emotional momentum. It never comes from simply linguistic correctness ideas. So that's what I learned from emotions. And finally, the aesthetic principles by Ramachandran and Herstein. Well, Ramachandran is one of the best neuroscientist in the world. He's from India and he's been proposing this for so many years, but no one actually talks about it. It also about emotions and how emotion help us perceive the world. And I will show you later how it actually works. So I will not be talking about this, the pedagogical stuff, but well, I was in a hurry, so the picture of the moral was actually cut a little bit. But in this new concept, well, this is actually how our brain processes information. So our brain always processes a story, and any text is always seen as a story. Any text is always processed as a story, and a story always has this canonical structure: the focus, disturbance, dialogue, development, and resolution. If you go back to, your daily experiences, well, we always focus on problems, and we can think of how we can solve the problems. That's the development, the method, and we will be happy if we can solve the problems and finally find some resolution and the moral, right? So it's also relevant with the approach of story science that is introduced by a professor in Iowa University, Angus Fletcher. And it's very interesting how emotions can help us see the text in a different way. I'll show you later. This is um, small, not small, I don't want to call it small. It's a simple difference between SFL and genre-based approach. So the text about zip was mentioned by some professors in Australia. They said that the text is perfect grammatically and it makes sense, but when we analyze the text, it's not sensible at all. Okay. Um, Zip is the new kid at my school. He's a Zordian from Zord. He even has his own spaceship park on the Oval. On the Oval. It's huge. Me and Zip are best friends because we both like swimming and soccer. Zip invited me to his spaceship. It's so cool. He has blah, 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 blah. And so I decided to, we both like swimming. So we went down to the lake. He asked, how deep is it? I didn't know. So I said, I didn't know. So he dived down to the bottom. I timed him. He was down there for 20 minutes. When he surfaced, he said it's 40 kilometers deep. So this is an accurate recount of my 2 days with Zip. That's it. So if you simply focus on grammar, the grammar is completely perfect, everyone. But in terms of emotions, it doesn't tell you exactly what the disturbance is. It doesn't tell you how the true cohesion of the text look like. So that's actually the clear message that I'm telling you. When you are focusing on emotions, you have to focus, you have to see that that should be an emotional shift from text to text. Okay, because life is all about emotions. Okay, not about grammar. And we can go back to this part later. And I have addressed this part in where I was very successful in doing the experiment back in 2019 or 20. And we did a blind paper review, and the same successful story. It was fully online during COVID. Mr. Baihaki from Win Palangkaraya also did a very successful one. We did the same approach, but I was doing the hybrid one, but Baihaki was doing the full online academic writing class, and he also had a great result. And the very first thing that you have to prepare if you want to use the REA, the Reading for Emotion and Aesthetic Integration, is you have to understand the core elements of this framework. So you cannot simply use AI without a strong or solid framework, all right? So reading for emotions are used to analyze text, okay? We can see that texts are full of emotions, and those emotions are categorized into more grammatical and into more some syntactical arrangement of the text. And I do not simply focus on the definitions, but on the description that I will show you later. And the principles of aesthetics from the discipline of neurology is used to amplify the analysis. So that's the most important part. We have this alat bedah, and then we have another alat bedah. So the keyword here is amplification. If you are doing good at reading for emotions, I want you to check and recheck the quality of your analysis one more time using aesthetics. That is what I call triangulated interpretation. Kan kita sering membahas triangulasi. Well, triangulation does not only happen in referencing, but it also happens in how we analyze and interpret the data. So if you come up with some data from your research, I will always ask you, how did you triangulate your analysis? And what are the learning tools that you can use to amplify your analysis? So it's more about the amplification. Well, you've got that amplifier at home, and here at the office, we've got amplifier. So your voice can echo into the room, right? I like the word amplification. And by using AI, the analysis becomes simpler. But the real problem is, how can we help the students interpret those things? Okay, so yeah, we have six elements in emotions and 8 elements in aesthetics. and AI can help us in identifying both, and the integration for me is amazing. So here, I am using AI as a cognitive amplifier. We want our students to be augmented by the data, by the description, by the visualization that are generated by AI. So the true decision maker is the students, but not the AI, right? So now I guess people who are working with AI will be much even clever if they know how to do it, right? Compared to the ones working or studying without AI. So we do not want to leave our students baffled. Okay, we don't want to leave our students doing nothing with AI. I know that some of you might be just copying and pasting irrelevant texts because you didn't have enough time to submit your assignments to your professors, and that's not a good thing. We still have to deal with AI, but in the most creative way. We have to work with AI with the most intuitive way. So that's what I'm doing with my students here at UNSC. All right, so by generating 4 different prompts, you can actually learn how to use data-driven skills in your literacy class. So this one is very easy, right? To produce. Number one, my students at semester 2 students are now working with the same framework. Just simply create 3 prompts and see what happens there on your screen. Number one, can you help me identify the canonical structure of this text using reading for emotions model, where every text has these components, blah, blah, blah. Number two, can you help me with the analysis of emotional shifts as found in the text? Can you help me create the visualization of the text so we can see the emotional tone as well as the canonical structure, blah, blah, blah. Number four, well, if the students are doing good already in doing the emotion analysis, they can go to the second phase of analysis, which is actually aesthetics. I will show you later an example, okay? And in my academic literacy class, we were focusing on the abstract written by Professor Andrew Lyons. So this is his latest publications entitled Synapses, Circuits, and Synergies Toward a Transformative Ecology to Human Intellect. So now I'm working this with my second semester students. I'm teaching this very, very, very interesting. We are focusing on the abstract first, and this is what happens when I and my students analyze the text. With this, well, I actually had long prompts compared to the prompts of my students, and look what happened. Okay, so AI enhanced emotional analysis table. We've got here the stage in complete chronology, in complete order, and we've got also the description. So I never ask my students to memorize the definitions of focus, model, and disturbance, not at all. But I always focus on see what you can find on your screen and think for yourself. Well, that's the real inquiry learning, right? I don't give the answers, but I simply give them not the recipe, but I give them some prompts, but they have to think for themselves. They might come up with different descriptions and I will like it. Okay, but this is actually the descriptions that I have for my own focus. So if you come to me later, so Pak Lala, what is actually the focus? Well, let me first check your text and let me first do the analysis. Or if you got one, then let's see how Quen or ChatGPT describes the focus. So right here, it establishes the central theme or problem, setting the stage for the narrative. The focus here is on AI's transformative role. And in disturbance, it introduces a challenge or limitation that disrupts the status quo, highlights AI's limitations in addressing the future challenges. If you go back to the abstract, Professor Andrew Lyon gave a small hint on the disturbance that might come up after the focus. Dialogue, ideas exploration, debates, interactions to address the disturbance, right? In the development, Professor Andrew Line elaborates on how the proposed solution, called alternative intelligence, can be applied. In resolution, he proposes a way forward by integrating human and machine capabilities. And moral reflects the broader implications, urging society to embrace alternative intelligence and redefine knowledge creation. We've got the key sentences here identified by Quen or ChatGPT. I don't remember exactly, but them to help me analyze the text. And we've got here the emotional shifts. So we have curiosity and anticipation. In focus, we've got optimism and concern. Dialogue is about hope and creativity emerge. Development is about confidence and enthusiasm, and resolution is all about reassurance and inspiration, motivation and urgency. And every single text might have different emotional shifts. So I can take my current research ideas further into the development of corpus, which is based on emotion. So later, I can say to my students that normally in focus, we have this kind of emotions. Normally in moral, we can see that these kind of emotions are normally found in every stage. So now I'm developing the corpus, everyone, based on emotions. I'm working this with my students. And I think last year in Darwin, I also made a very significant talk in my presentation where I mentioned to the professors at CDU that we can see the quality of good and bad text based on emotions. Okay, but I cannot show you the slide now because I have to go back to my previous slides. Jadi ternyata bisa teks yang bagus dilihat dari segi emotions. Saya membandingkan itu di Darwin, teks ini yang bagus, teks ini yang kurang bagus, and I was doing the the analysis, and I think it was pretty consistent. Okay, and Anya Lyon and other professors like it. And the good thing about using AI is it can give you the I don't know the visualization, or if you like, you can also ask for annotation. You can ask for the description. So this is the visualization, everyone. Emotional shift from focus, disturbance, dialogue, development, resolution, moral. So we've got some new description. The focus consists of curiosity and intellectual anticipation, uncertainty, concern, hope and possibility, engagement and intellectual validation, optimism and intellectual synergy. So the emotional peak is found on resolution, but in other texts that I'm analyzing, the text yang berbeda itu, the emotional peak was found in the dialogue. That's very interesting. So that's why I do not want to focus on linguistic correctness, because emotions are very dynamic, right? So we cannot predict where the peak might occur. Okay, it can occur in the resolution, it can occur in the moral, it can occur probably earlier in the disturbance. So wait, Pak Nizar, are you sharing the screen? Hello? Because this is not my screen actually.
Is it okay if I screen through my laptop, Pak? Because
All
from your
right,
laptop,
sure. All right, sure.
yeah,
So
okay.
yeah,
I'm
I'm
trying
talking
to
about
help
this.
Yeah.
That's the description, everyone. So can you go to the next slide, Pak Nizar? I might have to open my laptop as well. So oh no, I think that's too far. We can go back. Yes, go back, please. Yeah, can you go to the next slide? Yes, this one. So if you use ChatGPT, this is actually pretty normal. A normal text will look like this. It will start from a moderate tone. In disturbance, it's a bit lower. When you are disturbed, when you're having a problem, then you can have low tone here. And I have analyzed so many texts. Any good text will look like this. Jadi kalau teks yang aneh itu biasanya naik terlalu tinggi, jatuhnya terlalu tinggi, naiknya terlalu tinggi. That's abnormal. Jadi saya selalu memastikan teks mahasiswa itu seperti ini dulu, everyone. Oke, pembahasan nanti belakangan. Next slide, please, Pak Iza. We can go to Coin. Ya, ini bisa dibaca sendiri. Next, please. Yes, this is a very nice one, generated by Quen. So I was not happy, right, using the ChatGPT. That was a premium ChatGPT. I paid some amount of money to get the subscription, but then I was tempted to generate the analysis using Quen, and this is what happened. In fact, Quen gave me a very perfect triangle visualization for the abstract written by Professor Andrew Lyon. And I checked the same, no, not the same. And I also found the same perfection in other texts. When the texts are so well written, it will generate the same perfect triangle. And it means to me that, well, the peak of emotions can be either created in the dialogue or development. That's pretty interesting. If you have a very strong perspective on the disturbance, on the problem, then you can generate a very strong perspective in dialogue, and so that will happen. If you have a strong dialogue which is full of analysis and reflection, then you can generate a strong development and resolution and model. So it's all about progression. So what I'm trying to say is every time you write, you have to focus on disturbance first. Make sure you can amplify the reasoning, the analysis, and so forth, so you can have a true nice progression. Next slide, please. And this is the AI-enhanced aesthetics analysis. You don't have to read a lot of neuroscientific books, everyone, because AI or Quen or ChatGPT can give you an automated analysis like this. So I am amplifying the analysis of emotions using aesthetics. So we have 8 components: peak shift, grouping, contrast, symmetry, isolation, perceptual problem solving, abhorrence of coincidence, and orderliness. And this is this description. So peak shift is when the brain responds more strongly to exaggerated or amplified versions of stimulus. And this is actually how our brain perceives information. Okay, so to tell you the truth, you can read the rest at home. And this is the example, the real sentences generated in the abstract, the real one. And these are the emotional impact. So by using this AI-enhanced analysis, I am promoting the comparing, the contrasting, the contesting processes of learning. Because learning, biologically speaking, is all about identifying contrast and contrasting, comparing, contesting. And I think the hardest part of learning in contesting. Apa sih bedanya multisensory learning dengan genre-based approach? So that I am in the level of contesting, right? Jadi kawan-kawan kalau belajar itu memang harus ada aspek contrastingnya. That's how our brain perceives the world. Kalau kita nggak bisa ngebedain putih dan hitam, merah dan biru, you have a problem in the brain. Teman-teman rada susah membedakan antara SUV dan MPV, itu bermasalah gitu. Atau you cannot differentiate between bubur kacang dan bubur ketan, that's also problematic. So if you talking about critical thinking, then we have to promote the capacity for contrasting, for comparing, for contesting. Apa sih bedanya analisis di emotion sama aesthetics? Proses internal itulah yang tidak bisa kita prediktif, right? Makanya pembelajaran itu harusnya sangat sangat personalized, right, for me. Okay, next slide please. Kita lihat analisis gabungannya seperti apa. Ini gambaran tentang aesthetic progressions-nya. Let's go, Pak Nizar. Maybe we don't have time for this. Ada summary-nya juga. Let's go to the next one, please. Ini bisa dibaca sendiri, right? Bahwa tulisan Prof. Andulayan itu bedanya ini, dan ini. Turun lagi ke bawah. Turun lagi ke bawah. Nah, so we have the summary table where can show the integration of emotions and aesthetics. So in my class, my students will tell me the focus of this abstract contains curiosity and anticipation, but there are only three principles: peak shift, orderliness, grouping. Buktinya apa? Mereka bisa menjelaskan itu semua. And the hardest part of doing this is actually connecting the link atau creating the link. Or what I'm trying to say is you have to develop a conceptual linkage. The true learning happens when we can relate things. Ya, teman-teman yang pernah baca Michael Bakhtin mentions in his books that meaning is relational. Kalau kawan-kawan belajar tentang meaning, makanya meaning making processes, everyone, saya selalu nanya ke mahasiswa, jadi hubungannya emotion dengan aesthetics in your very text itu apa? Dan ini dijadikan bahan untuk belajar nulis, belajar presentasi. Jadi cara saya ngetes, bukan ngetes ya, checking the progress of learning of my students adalah by looking at the process of the learning, and then they have to explain to me, meskipun itu kelasnya literacy, mau itu academic writing atau creative writing, they have to explain to me the process. Yang menarik dari sini adalah kawan-kawan, look, untuk papernya Prof. Andrew Lyon, peak shift muncul di focus, muncul juga di dialogue. We can also find peak shift in the moral of the story. Yang paling banyak muncul lain mungkin ada contrast, ada grouping, dan lain-lain. Masih di yang tadi Pak Nizar, di integration ya. Not that one. Yang tadi integration Pak Nizar. I think you were going back. Turun lagi ke bawah. Ya, the summary table. Nah, mahasiswa itu harus ditantang, harus dilatih untuk menjelaskan meaning as relational. Apa hubungannya ini dan itu tidak ada jawaban pastinya seperti 1 kali 1 2, 2 kali 2 4, 3 kali 3 9 misalnya. And in the context of inquiry-based learning, I think it's the best that we can do. I can never give my students one single question with only one single answer, because that is going to be counterproductive with our inquiry approach of learning. Jadi kalau teman-teman percaya bahwa pembelajaran itu harus sangat eksploratif, kalau kawan-kawan belajar pembelajaran itu harus interpretif, dan itu menjadi bagian dari critical thinking, maka saya akan mengajak kawan-kawan ke dunia ini. So I'm leaving behind the ideas of rote memorization completely. Karena memorization itu hanya berlaku untuk ya mungkin anak-anak, tapi anak-anak pun sekarang udah fokusnya di higher order thinking skills ya. Jadi kemampuan-kemampuan untuk relating things, membangun conceptual linkage, itulah yang dikembangkan dalam mata kuliah literasi. Barulah obrolan tentang higher order thinking skills itu masuk akal buat saya. Next slide please, Pak Nizar. Sampai mana kita? Ini ada penjelasannya kawan-kawan tentang integration of RFE and aesthetics. It's free, langsung disediain langsung oleh Qwen and ChatGPT. Saya menggunakan dua platform tersebut dan they are pretty much consistent. Kalau kita punya framework yang benar tentang learning tools itu, they are pretty much consistent. Penjelasannya seperti ini. In focus, we've got curiosity and anticipation, and the topic generates interest and engagement. And in peak shift, there is an exaggerated elements heightened reader curiosity. There is also a structured beginning provides clarity. The concepts are framed within recognizable categories. Inilah yang harus dijelaskan oleh mahasiswa. Nah, kemampuan-kemampuan menjelaskan ini yang langka dimiliki sama kita semua sebenarnya. But we are moving toward that part. Silakan turun aja ke bawah agak cepat Pak Nizar. Ini kalau contoh-contoh penjelasannya dan tiap teks, oke, tiap teks memiliki kadar peak shift yang beda, kadar emotion yang beda. Itulah dinamika pembelajaran yang fokusnya inquiry. Research and inquiry itu artinya buat saya adalah pengembangan agency untuk fokusnya meaning making, right? So mungkin at the end of my talk, I'd like to take you further where we cannot simply rely now on the fixed static curricula as AI can challenges us in so many ways, right? If you are the proponent of inquiry-based learning, then this framework can be applicable, right? And if you believe on human agency, then we can help students to personalize their learning using AI. And if you believe in multimodal literacy, well, AI certainly can help us build that platform. And yes, we are now promoting AI-enhanced pedagogy at Win Cyber Jati Cirebon. Jadi kalau kita semua tidak pernah berurusan dengan AI, kayaknya rugi banget ya, rugi serugi-ruginya. Tapi yang sedang kita kembangkan adalah cara kita learning English with AI in the most creative way, in the most intuitive way, and probably in the smartest way ever. And by doing this, I believe that we can augment the intellectual of the students. Karena pembelajaran itu, kalau di Win Cyber kita tidak mempromosikan transformasi intelektual atau intellectual transformation, maka saya rasa kita akan gagal menjadi apa namanya anggota squad Win Cyber, right? So that's the final remarks of my talk, everyone. I hope we can discuss something interesting in today's meeting. Thank you very much, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Palala, for inspiring talk. And this is the end of the talk given by Palala. Now let's move on to discussion session or question and answer sessions. If anyone here in this room have some questions or something to confirm to the speaker or something to discuss to the floor, please raise your hand on or simply turn on your microphone and start to ask some questions. Please, everyone.
Me, Pak Nizar.
Oke,
Halo.
please Bu Mama ya ini ya. Oke, please Bu Mama.
Yeah. Very interesting. Thank you, Palala, for delivering this topic. I heard about this quite a long ago about the emotional and aesthetic things, but then I just try to understand it deeply by following your presentation here, but not really deeply, of course, because I just follow only one presentation from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then actually, when you say that emotional and aesthetic aspect of reading emotional. So in relation with the meaning making, how is it? How to say it? I don't know. How is the impact of this emotional? What is it? How do you call it?
What is it?
Your approach here.
It's multisensory computer-assisted language learning.
Yeah. So how this related to the meaning making itself in your opinion? Yeah. because for me this is very important because we are here, of course, teaching, especially when you are teaching semantic and also discourse analysis, because then
Yeah.
our focus is on meaning making, and then meaning making can be it's not only one way in understanding things. There are so many things that contribute to the meaning making itself. So how do you think this will give a different perspective or different approach in understanding or in meaning making itself? So yeah,
All right.
thank you.
So thank you for the question, Bu Mamai. Langsung aja ya, Pak Nizar ya.
Ya, oke
So
Pak.
um, I uh, I have this not definition actually, but this is actually an approach to multisensory learning. Multisensory learning, biologically speaking, is about how our brain perceives information. When I say the word perceive, it means that it's all about how the brain detects information. It's all about how we detect anomaly. It's how we detect things that are not clear, right? And then it's also how it's also about how our brain actually respond to changes, and finally analyzing, reviewing, synthesizing information at the highest level. So that's multisensory. So we use a lot of sensors in the brain and also in the body because uh, it's part of the Sunnatul law where every piece of information that comes from the world, from the outside world, can be sensed in the best way. All right. So multisensory is not merely, or it's about the touch, it's not about the sight, it's not about the smell only. No, but the integrated process of sensing is part of the semiosis. Okay. So if you go to toko parfum, right, you will normally check different smells of perfume. Okay. But then I can say that you will not be happy with one single smell because you have to feel the contrast generated by different types of perfume. Maybe the perfume A makes you feel more feminine. Perfume B makes you feel more focused. Perfume C makes you feel more, I don't know, more powerful in certain way. And so that is actually the real case of perception. So meaning without perception is actually not the real meaning because meaning is always individually generated. And that's number one. And number two, if we go back to the references, semiosis for us here is an emotional journey. So meaning making is always an emotional journey. There has never been a meaning without feeling. So meaning always comes before thinking. We cannot think without feeling, and we cannot generate anything without, meaning, a feeling, sorry. That's number two. And number three, so semiosis or meaning making is actually, let's say, how do you say, a transfer from low level systems in the body and the brain, and it actually depends on clues from the high level systems, and that high level systems is actually emotions. And that's the reason why emotions is, uh, it comes from the back of our head, our brainstem, right? Dalam banget gitu di brainstem kita. Artinya adalah semua meaning making system itu memang a biological phenomenon. And that's also the reason why I keep telling myself my students learning is about biology. So suka tidak suka kita memang harus belajar biology in the best possible way. And that's number three. And number four, I guess I have to check some references here. So when we focus on semiosis as the emotional journey, then we can talk about engagement with the reader, engagement with the audience, because engagement is a very deep personal experience, right? It's a very innate human experience. So it is very important to see it as part of perception. Saya ngelihatnya seperti itu, Mbak Mamai. So
Yep.
kalau di dunia sastra kita kan sering berlatih tentang metafora ya. Kita nggak sadar metaphor is part of aesthetics. Karena orang-orang yang berpikir metaforis itu ternyata cerdas banget kan. Para sufi berpikirnya metaforis. Rumi, gurunya Rumi, Al-Ghazali, semua yang mereka lakukan itu sebenarnya berpikir metaforis, and that is actually part of their aesthetics. Saya ngelihatnya seperti itu. Jadi level berpikir orang-orang yang estetik itu adalah sangat metaforis dan pasti peak shift-nya banyak biasanya. So that's what I'm thinking. I hope that satisfies your question. I hope that answers your question. I mean, gitu Mbak Mamai.
Yeah. I do agree that semiosis or meaning making related to our biological aspect. Yeah, it's not only
Right.
and then we also learn about this. For example, in what is it in discourse analysis, there is we call it as intertextuality.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Intertextuality require us to recall and also to go deep in our knowledge ya, untuk kemudian kayak digging dalam diri kita semua pengetahuan
Right.
yang kita miliki untuk kemudian membaca atau memahami sesuatu. Nah,
Yeah. Yeah.
buat saya secara pribadi ya, sejauh ini seolah reading estetik ini atau tadi apa teori yang Pak Lala jelaskan itu benar-benar sesuatu yang baru ya. Kemudian juga dia memberikan alternatif cara pembacaan yang berbeda, yang baru. Tetapi kemudian seperti seolah kemudian tidak berkaitan dengan teori-teori sebelumnya yang telah ada di dalam kajian tentang meaning making atau semiosis itu sendiri. Misalnya, ya ini saya salah atau tidak ya nanti? Karena
Benar sih, benar.
iya benar ya. Saya sendiri
Benar.
buat saya ini seharusnya kalau misalnya ini adalah konsepnya sama, bagaimana kita itu memahami sesuatu, maka harusnya teori-teori terdahulu itu menjadi penguat ya, bahwa
Harusnya ya.
ya saya nggak tahu ya, karena mungkin tadi yang kata Pak Lala sampaikan bahwa setiap orang itu memiliki kemampuan untuk memproduksi atau memproses meaning itu akan berbeda-beda,
Ya.
gitu ya. Selama ini kita sudah menggunakan misalnya aja cara pemaknaan yang ini gitu ya, yang A misalnya aja, lalu kemudian ada yang B. Apakah yang ini adalah merupakan bentuk yang sama sekali berbeda atau memang advance pola baru yang kemudian memperbaiki yang sebelumnya gitu. Kalau
Right.
menurut saya akan lebih apa namanya berterima oleh atau keberterimaannya itu akan lebih di apa lebih luas kalau misalnya ini mengadopsi atau apa ya, mengadaptasi juga teori-teori sebelumnya yang sudah banyak digunakan oleh orang, sehingga kemudian orang akan, oh iya, saya pernah pakai ini nih gitu ya, saya pernah pakai ini, tapi kalau oh benar sih, saya tadi mengikuti itu, oh iya benar benar juga ya gitu ya. Karena kemudian kalau misalnya kita hanya terfokus pada gramatika, kemudian terfokus kepada itu, eh, eh, kita akan menjadi sangat kaku dalam membaca atau memahami sesuatu gitu ya.
Yeah,
Tapi
right.
sebenarnya dalam diri kita itu sebenarnya kadang kita juga tidak terlalu memperhatikan itu, tetapi lebih kepada bagaimana kita memahami gitu ya. Asalkan kita
Hmm.
sudah mendapatkan poin maknanya, kadang-kadang kita nggak peduli nih kita tadi perhatiin grammarnya nggak sih gitu ya. Eh Pemahaman kita terhadap grammarnya itu kemudian juga nggak terlalu. Nah, maksud saya kalau misalnya mengadaptasi juga pola-pola atau teori-teori pemaknaan semiosis yang lainnya yang sudah ada itu seperti apa gitu. Kalau apakah ini
Hmm.
mungkin kemudian misalnya dikaitkan dengan teori-teori yang bahasa yang lainnya, um,
Yeah.
yang
Alright.
ya oke ya.
Oke, mungkin saya highlight beberapa aspek. Mungkin pertanyaannya pertanyaan epistemologis ya, theory of knowledge. Kalau saya jujur di dunia TESOL atau TEFL itu ya kita percaya bahwa dogma itu lebih kuat daripada data. Ketika saya punya data yang baru ya teman-teman di area discourse analysis yang tradisional mungkin ngapain sih lala gitu. Jadi pertanyaannya mungkin ke lebih aspek epistemologi yang sudah kita pelajari begitu lama, ya karena saya merasakan pergulatan batin yang hebat ya.
Yep.
Waktu dulu misalnya saya belajar ya discourse analysis juga waktu S1 S2, saya tertarik di area foregrounding ya, backgrounding dari judul-judul atau teks. Dulu kan saya sempat em, mengalami masa foregrounding, masa hanya aspek theme sama rim doang sih. Nah, di balik theme sama rim itu ada apa gitu. Kan
Yep.
baru
Yep.
ketemu jawabannya waktu di Australia misalnya.
Yep.
Ketika Anya cukup how does make you feel when you read this title?
Mhm.
Fokusnya gini gini gini. Iya ya, kita fokus yang gede dulu baru mungkin yang kecil. Jadi kalau kita fokus di area theme doang kayaknya buat saya nggak begitu ini ya, nggak begitu inspiring. I'm sorry karena
Mhm.
ada sesuatu yang lebih besar yang membuat kita tuh memproduksi leksikogramatikal tertentu gitu. Dan saya percaya
Mhm.
itu gitu ya. Dan kita juga harus percaya ada kekuatan besar yang gaib yang menggerakkan tangan kita, mata kita gitu, denyut nadi kita yang membuat kita jalan, yang membuat kita mikir, yang membuat kita nulis. Ada ada sesuatu yang sangat internal yang sebenarnya yang menggerakkan kita. So that actually emotions. Kalau kita melihat itu dan nggak tahu ya kalau dalam dunia sufi bisa jadi em, infrastruktur emotion itu adalah infrastruktur ilahiyah yang langsung ngelingnya ke ilahi gitu ya. Mungkin Bu Mama yang lebih paham itu satu. Jadi perkara teori lama, teori baru, em, that depends on your firmness in your apa ya process of building epistemology.
Yep. Yep.
Juga enggak, tapi saya melihat ada begitu apa ya, ada kontras yang besar ya ketika kita
Mhm.
fokus meaning, sorry, saya kan percayanya human as agent ya. Human
Yep.
as
Yep.
agent ya berarti meaning itu ya 100% perkaranya si meaning maker,
Yep.
meaning maker. Jadi
The personal individual.
right, right. Dan itu mungkin yang harus kita bangun ya, falsafahnya dulu gitu. Kan
Mhm.
mahasiswa juga kalau kita minta baca satu teks yang sangat sederhana juga they come up with different ideas gitu ya. Ya itulah dialogic proses itulah yang mungkin yang harus dibangun sebenarnya. Ya dialogic proses itu intinya selalu ke comparing, contrasting, contesting. Kalau saya berarti mungkin lihat teori-teori lama dulu hanya comparing, di tahun kedua mungkin contrasting, sekarang saya
Mhm.
contesting gitu ya. Jadi
Yep.
auranya udah beda. Mungkin in the highest level of learning kita tuh harus mengkontes paradigma berpikir kita yang lama. Soalnya kalau saya kan dilatihnya radikal banget dalam artian Lala, you have to dismiss your existing knowledge. Wow, ada knowledge dismissal gitu, sampai di dismiss. Udah, sampai benar-benar radikal. Dalam artian kita harus ngosongin diri dulu, kita embracing new knowledge yang baru, biar electric wire-nya di otak dan di badan kita itu jalan. Ya kayak kita punya mesin baru kali ya. Tidak mesti turun mesin gitu, nggak ada epistemological hall, nggak mesti, tapi saya bilang hanya pindah kuadran keilmuan aja gitu. Kalau saya masih di area TESOL yang lama, mungkin saya ngeliat meaning kayak gini, tapi saya kuadran yang baru saya seperti ini. Dan itu mungkin pergulatannya sampai kita meninggal dunia kali Mbak ya, nggak mesti beres sekarang kan pergulatan batin itu ya. Dan mungkin disitulah berpikir radikal itu sebagai PhD, karena radix itu kan radikal ya, dokter filosofi, karena kalau kita berfilosofi itu artinya berpikirnya harus sangat mendasar. Ya mungkin di momen-momen tertentu juga saya mikir, oh ya, ini relevan dalam mungkin mungkin teorinya relevan, tapi em, kita harus bilang ke diri kita, kita punya new understanding nggak tentang tentang teori itu. Itu aja sih sebenarnya. Teorinya bisa sangat ajek, tapi pengalaman kitanya kan harus dynamic banget. Jadi kita nggak mau teori itu dipegang lama terus, kitanya nggak berkembang. Karena teori itu nggak mungkin berkembang kan sebenarnya. Eh, Kalau kita ngelihat entitas yang sebagai sebagai objek gitu, yang berkembang adalah harusnya diri kita. Teorinya bisa banyak, lalu kita ngambil hikmah-hikmah. Makanya saya senang lagunya si Pai Burman sama Irang itu kan, yang bilang kita nih butuh ilmu dan hikmat untuk dunia yang tersesat. Ya, kita bisa aja ngajar di abad 21 tapi we are pedagogically lost gitu ya, tersesat secara pedagogis gitu. Karena itu tadi mungkin kita hanya ngandelin ilmu, ilmunya udah lama, nggak ada hikmat. Hikmat itu buat saya, hikmah itu adalah ketika kita berani buka diri, membaca hal-hal di luar disiplin ilmu kita bisa membuka mata batin kita. Oh, ternyata neuroscience tuh bilang language processing tuh nggak kayak linguis loh gitu. Jadi sebenarnya saya mengajak teman-teman untuk berdialektika. Itu namanya dialektika ya. Kita mengajak, jadi satu PhD lahir, dialektikanya baru muncul gitu. Jadi selalu ada dialektika baru. Maka kita senang kalau ada PhD. Jadi nanti juga ada yang challenge saya jawab dengan research, gitu kan? Ya disitulah ilmu berkembang, dialektika baru lagi. Jadi mungkin ketimbang membicarakan convergence dari teori lama ke teori baru, saya mungkin lebih senang ke dialektika. Nah, ada
Okay.
perdebatan dalam artian pencerahan ya. Oh gini, oh
Okay.
gini, oh gini gitu. Mungkin gitulah gambarannya.
Sorry, again Pak Lala.
Ya.
I just joined a group which
Mhm.
is coordinated by Professor Valentin Wermer from the Nuremberg University, Germany. And then actually this group is created to focusing on the pop culture linguistics, yeah, pop culture linguistics, yeah.
Oke.
And then here they open the discussion to discuss about studying telecinematic language. So
Oh,
they say that this telecinematic language is
ya,
a new form of communication,
ya,
and then how is actually the best approaches to what is it symbiosis, yeah, making meaning of this kind of new form of the language itself, because mostly in most of the communication probably in the next 5 years is dominated by what is it online form of communication, and this is all uh, can be or can be what is it um, can be called as a part of the telecinematic language itself. Ya,
oke.
jadi di sini dalam grup ini kemudian dikatakan bahwa telesinematik itu yang tadinya itu terfokus hanya kepada pemaknaan atas misalnya film, lagu dan lain sebagainya, itu sekarang tidak lagi. Bahkan our day to day communication juga mengadaptasi pola ini gitu ya.
Iya,
Sehingga kemudian di situ dikatakan dibutuhkan satu pendekatan approaches yang kemudian baru, dan ini adalah challenging untuk kita orang-orang yang fokusnya terhadap bahasa, karena semiotikanya juga akan berkembang dengan sangat masif katanya di
iya,
situ. Jadi semua bentuk komunikasi, misalnya yang tadinya itu adalah body language, itu kita sekarang tidak lagi body language-nya ada karena misalnya menggunakan video call, tetapi kemudian juga icon-icon atau bentuk-bentuk lain juga muncul gitu ya.
Iya.
Sehingga kemudian ragam bahasanya itu menjadi sangat lebih varied. Nah,
Right.
ini dalam grup itu banyak sekali dibahas tentang pendekatan-pendekatan. Nah, termasuk terus terang aja, saya belum, ini saya baru sekitar 3/4 membaca teks-teks yang ada,
Right.
ya, untuk pendekatannya, dan mulai ada yang menggunakan istilah neuroscience ini, ya. Mulai masuk ke situ, tapi saya belum mempelajarinya secara utuh lagi, belum mengikuti diskusinya lagi. Tetapi menurut saya sekali lagi hampir semuanya saya tidak mengatakan bahwa neuroscience atau emotional reading aesthetic ini adalah sesuatu yang baru, karena mungkin sebenarnya tanpa kita sadari ini sudah eksis sejak lama ya. Hanya kemudian misalnya di sini Palala yang membawanya dan itu baru dikenal sekarang, padahal mungkin teori ini sudah sejak lama ada. Nah, bukan tidak mungkin juga nanti akan ada satu pendekatan-pendekatan baru ya, yang sebenarnya sudah ada tapi kita baru dengar juga gitu. Nah, saya pikir sekali lagi, tapi kita harus kemudian sangat terbuka terhadap semua pendekatan kebahasaan apapun nanti yang ditawarkan oleh dunia ya.
Right.
Dan sekali lagi very happy to have you here as a part of us, Palala. Dengan
Thank you, Mama.
That's all. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank you
again.
so much. Ya, kalau estetik sendiri memang konsepnya tahun 99 ya, the very first text that emerged in the web. Tapi mungkin sisi inovasi kami yang ditawarkan di sini adalah lewat PhD tesis saya waktu itu ya, kenapa kita nggak nyoba analisis teks pakai pendekatan neurological principle of aesthetic aja? Mungkin kami baru pertama di dunia kali ya yang menggunakan interpretasi teks menggunakan pendekatannya estetik ala Ramachandran. Jadi bisa aja memang itu udah lama sekali di sana, tapi ketika diaplikasikan mungkin belum ada gitu dan
Ya, novelty-nya mungkin itu
iya,
ya.
right. Moment of truth-nya mungkin sekarang dan sekarang ya udah zaman AI ya kita juga mencoba meracik pendekatan yang baru. Ternyata buat saya fun tuh. Jadi anak-anak sekarang AI assisted reading-nya itu bisa sangat kaya. Dari hasil eksplorasi baca aja mereka bisa bikin, ya tinggal copy paste aja kan dari Coin atau ChatGPT, hasil bacaan seminggu bisa di 250 halaman, highlight kata-kata yang penting, so insight barunya apa nih misalnya dari teks ini. Jadi buat saya, ya we are now in the most exciting time at the university. Kampus kita udah jadi Win Cyber, lalu research-nya ya alhamdulillah berkaitan dengan AI, juga tentang human biology of learning. Dan betul yang kata Mbak Mamai bilang, area-area yang bahasa yang non-tradisional ya, karena bahasa juga kan, gesture juga masuk bahasa gitu kan. Dan non-verbal language juga masuk bahasa, jadi bahasa kan tidak bisa didefinisikan langsung kemana tuh, ke grammar doang, atau ke leksikogrammar, atau ke aspek-aspek struktural doang kan nggak bisa gitu ya. Jadi saatnya kita memang beralih pelan-pelan secara sistematis. Jadi mungkin kawan-kawan kalau mau membuat kurikulum di RPS atau di jurusan lebih berwarna, lebih dinaamik, ya mau nggak mau paksa dalam tanda kutip mahasiswa untuk membaca hal-hal yang tidak dalam jangkauan mata biasa gitu ya. Iya, jalan-jalan sedikit ke area telesematik, language tadi, jalan-jalan ke area sini juga, jalan-jalan ke sini juga. Jadi 3 tahun 4 tahun di sini ya mereka bisa sangat-sangat divergent gitu berpikir. Thank you Mbak Mamai for the appreciation. Kapan berangkat ke Nurembergnya Mbak Mamai? Ngajak-ngajak dong Nuremberg ya. That's very interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Bu Mamai, for sharing your ideas and also giving some questions. Also, confirming several points to our
Nggak ada suaranya, Pak Rizal. Apa Rizal? Ya, nggak ada suaranya. Belum
Yeah.
ada suaranya. Ya, ada.
Yeah. So anyone else? Okay, Pak Lala, if still while waiting for other attendants to give some questions, I myself have something to ask to Pak Lala.
Ya,
The first one is about um, textual analysis.
ya,
According to your talk, it is said that meaning making is based on perspective and emotional, and it means it is subjective. So everyone can understand a text differently to other people.
ya,
And what intrigues me to ask you is that in our communication world, there is so-called conventional meaning. For example, if a letter, if several letters formulated into a word table,
ya,
so it means or it symbolizes, it portrays some meanings of a furniture which usually has four legs, and probably most of them are made of wood and so on. So this is why what I refer to as
ya.
conventional meaning, let's say. And how is it different to meaning that is subjective in your idea of emotional reading for emotion? So what is there any differences between your concept of meaning as perceived by individual and meaning as understood or as designed by conventional or by standardized language?
Right.
Second question,
Mm,
is it okay if I
Sure,
ask
okay.
a question? The second question is that I am also wonder about the practicality of reading
Yeah,
emotion or multisensory learning in our educational system in
right.
Indonesia. We believe, and it is already a fact that um, it is even mandatory, written
Yeah,
on some law product, and the teachers in Indonesia are suggested or recommended or even mandated to use genre-based approach. And I already read the paper,
yeah,
and not the paper, the product of law, yeah, the product of law of this policy. And this probably so far hasn't been changed, hasn't been challenged, or hasn't been contested by latest approach, because
yeah,
probably so far in Indonesia this approach is the most suitable for our condition of Indonesia, uh, because probably genre-based approach is quite applicable to the condition in which schools are most of the schools in Indonesia do not have advanced technology, let alone having an AI. They probably do not have enough amount of computers or internet connection. So genre-based approach is most feasible for most of the schools. And
yeah,
and however, on the other hand, there are several transformative or innovative pedagogy, and one of them is multisensory learning as you proposed. And and my question is how is it how and in multisensory learning you also said that learning is personalized and it is so against the
Yeah.
traditional learning. It means that students are asked to standardize in a sense that they have to perform certain criteria or certain quality of learning.
Yeah.
So it means it can be so it is so drastically
Yeah.
it is so it is so totally different to transformative pedagogy on and transformative pedagogy. And in what kind of circumstances is your multisensory learning will be best applied? Because
Right.
when I read Prof. Andrew Lyons, some of Andrew Lyons paper, I read there is a concept of uh, rhizomatic, and I thought it is so radical. It means that it cannot be it cannot be applicable to our traditional schools. So how is it applicable to our conditions of school like that in your perspective? So probably that's
All
good.
right.
Thank you.
So for your information, reading for emotion has been implemented in a school in Brebes, quite a big school, kind of like pesantren, and we've got the result, and it's now written into my book already. So that's number one, and number two, using reading for emotions and aesthetics does not require any students to be grammatically smart. We know that students are not good at doing grammar. They're not good at doing the vocabulary memorization at all. So I would say that multisensory learning or multisensory call, well, learning is very, for me, the word education always carries the word technology. So I don't think that genre-based approach is the most stable one for the context of Indonesia, because I and Pa Lukman Bayhaki did research here in Indonesia, and the genre-based approach, the students taught using genre-based approach did not make any significant progress at all. Even 90% of them were actually doing the regressive work in the context of teaching and learning. And that's number two. And number three, if you are focusing on the development of proficiency using CFR level, so the customization of the text using reading for emotions are very applicable. So in the school in Brebes, the teacher customized the text. Well, she wrote the text that were used by students, and that she customized the leveling of text using CFR and also with emotions. And for us, it worked, and we have a very strong evidence that the multisensory call, well, either if you want to apply the reading for emotion alone, or you want to integrate all of them, it's applicable, totally highly applicable in the context of fully resourced schools like the one you see in Cirebon or Bandung, or it can also be applied in under-resourced schools in Brebes. And that's a very interesting fact. And that's also why it triggers us to choose the title multisensory call for under-resourced universities and schools in Indonesia. And that's number two. And number three, in practical things, this is what I'm doing with my students right now. So in terms of the reading for emotions practicality. So number one, I always ask my students to read the full text. All right, they have to read the full text from the title to the references in a week. And in the second and in the third and the fourth week, this is what they can do. In week two, they will be learning about explaining process. They can ask ChatGPT or Quen to help them explain the specific parts of the paper. What does this mean? All right. And then they can also create a table where it contains the description made by ChatGPT or Quen, and this is the table made by the students. So there is a comparing identification of concepts. Okay. So explaining, and after explaining, I want them to highlight the keywords, the key concept that they found interesting in the text. So highlighting, and they will gather all the most important keywords that pop up on screen. And after that, they have to create the expanded questions. So explaining and expanding, that's actually the most challenging part for my students, because in the world of AI, the learning process may fail if the students cannot create smart questions. So AI has vast historical data. They are very good at, keeping things alive in their storage system. So the best thing that we can do to unlock the mystery of AI is to generate good questions. So in my class, making good questions is much even more important than finding the answers. So that's actually a shift from simply looking at the answers to creating great or analytical questions. So in the expanding questions process, a good students will, for example, create 3, 4, 5 different questions that are probably relevant, still relevant with the previous reading experiences. And after that, they will have to summarize using AI as well, but they can also compare the summary made by AI with the summary made by themselves. So there is always comparing and contesting between human understanding and machine understanding, because we want to make sure that there is an integrated and shared, let's say, knowledge between machine and human. Okay, and then explaining, explaining, highlighting, expanding questions, making summaries. So for me, those processes are very easy to learn, very easy to apply in our daily classrooms. I know we don't have much time to teach the students, right, in the classroom, but we promote exploratory work like that. Jadi semakin banyak pertanyaan, semakin bagus. And this week, I was checking a lot of works made by my students, and to be honest, the big weaknesses of our students is on creating the expanded questions. Ternyata untuk membuat pertanyaan lanjutan yang ngelink tentang konsep-konsep baru yang mereka itu susah, right? Jadi disitulah kita kerja kerasnya harus lebih ekstra, gitu ya. Mau nggak mau satu-satu harus dicek gitu ya. Ini belajarnya udah oke, meskipun dia punya dokumennya 250 halaman bacaan exploratory-nya ya. Tapi buat saya, well, I have to enjoy the process of learning with my students, but I always urge them to explore more and be more attentive to some of the best and most relevant keywords. Jadi dari situ, itu sebelum ke analysis of emotions, mereka harus melatih predictive analysisnya dulu. Jadi ada hal-hal yang bisa dilakukan oleh AI, ada hal-hal yang tidak bisa dilakukan oleh AI, dan itu harus dikerjakan oleh si mahasiswa itu sendiri. Makanya di area expanding questions atau di expanded questions, itu mereka harus melatih predictive analysis dulu. Oh, kalau konsep tentang transformative ecology antara human dan machine, kemungkinan besar tema yang akan muncul ini. Berarti pertanyaan saya temanya akan ke sini. Nah, thematization dari pertanyaan, dari topik-topik yang itu pun ternyata harus dilatih. Kan kalau kita di research questions itu kan ada tema ya. Makanya saya selalu komplain ke mahasiswa saya, ini ada research questions, ini ada metode pengumpulan data, ini ada datanya. Jadi dari jawaban wawancara misalnya, ada dia mewawancara 10 orang dengan menggunakan 50 pertanyaan misalnya. Saya kan selalu ngecek, tema-tema yang muncul dari setiap jawaban mahasiswa tuh yang beda-beda tuh apa. Jadi kalau nggak ada tematisasi kayak gitu, it's really hard to predict the answers for the questions. Itu pun berlaku sama di mata kuliah saya. Jadi I set the boundaries between things that can be done by AI and things that cannot be done by AI. I made it very clear. Ternyata memang ketika mereka pakai AI, ya kita kan memang membangun AI competitive framework ya, gampang bikin analisis, gampang bikin data patterning, gampang bikin summary, gampang gampang bikin insight, tapi your human insight-nya apa? When you have this data, kira-kira, nah, disitulah predictive mechanism itu berjalan, which is actually also part of the semiosis. Jadi ada interpretasi, ada predicting, ya kan? Ada juga mungkin analyzing yang lebih intuitif. Kita maunya ke area sana. Jadi that's how I run my class in terms of practicality. Dan kalau mereka sudah jago di area bacaan AI assisted reading, baru kita turun ke reading for emotional analysis. Setelah itu udah mulai panas, baru kita melakukan amplifikasi menggunakan aesthetics. Lalu fase empatnya itu adalah mereka harus berlatih yaitu higher order thinking skills yang tingkat tinggi. Teks ini disebut bagus karena titik-titik-titik in terms of emotion, in terms of aesthetics, gambaran seperti ini. Teks ini jelek karena komponen-komponen estetik dan emosinya misalnya tidak mencerminkan dan. So, gambarannya seperti itu untuk jawaban nomor 2 ya. Terus jawaban nomor 1, pertanyaan nomor 1, it's a very interesting question. Buat saya, conventional meanings itu kan semacam bridge antara language and emotions. So it enables people to communicate feelings kan. Jadi hidup kita itu memang kita dipenuhi oleh shared linguistic symbol dan framework, dan itu adalah menjadi batu loncatan menuju emotions. Dalam artian gini, when you mention the word table, ya mungkin yang kita bayangkan adalah table ini dia punya panjang lebar tertentu, tingginya tertentu, but everyone can have different experience. Jadi yang saya lihat apa namanya conventional meaning, if we want to call it conventional, dia disebut conventional karena secara proses di otak dia masuk clue yang level rendah, low cues, saya menyebutnya low cues of meaning, let's say. Karena kita tidak bisa stuck di definisi situ aja. Mungkin kalau kita nyebut kata mobil, mobil juga ya rodanya 4, gimana rodanya 10 atau 16. Oke, itu low Q aja, buat saya low Qs. Tapi low Qs itu, QQ yang low itu justru dipengaruhi oleh yang high Q-nya tadi, yang saya bilang di presentasi di slide nomor berapa. Dalam artian adalah, ketika saya nyebut kata mobil, mobil itu dalam imajinasi saya adalah, sejak kecil ya, misalnya saya bertiga dengan orang tua ke Bandung misalnya. Dulu Bandung lagi dingin, kita masuk ke daerah apa namanya, yang apa tuh Pangeran, Cadas Pangeran yang masih foggy segala macam gitu kan. Lihat cahaya matahari yang masuk ke sela-sela daun, itu experience yang ngasih saya emotion kayak gitu. Jadi mobil itu berarti family gathering, mobil itu buat saya kebersamaan, buat saya high Q-nya itu seperti itu. Q yang atau clue yang lebih tingginya tuh selalu tentang emotions, right? Jadi kita nggak cukup membicarakan table seperti ini, tapi Q tertingginya itu apa? Begitu juga ketika kita menyebutkan kata uh, bulan purnama misalnya kan, bulan purnama itu ya kalau kita hanya Q yang pendek atau clue yang pendek ya bulat going gitu. Tapi ketika ada orang menyebutkan bulan purnama, dalam benak saya, I am emotionally driven. Karena di Darwin itu bulan purnama itu like gede banget kayak di atas rumah kita banget gitu, kayak like jadi ada emotion yang saya bangun berbeda kan dengan setiap orang. Nah, disitulah personalisasi saya ketika saya nulis teks tentang bulan sabit, tentang bulan purnama, tentang mobil, itu akan berbeda dari orang ke orang. Jadi mungkin ketika kita membicarakan differentiated learning tanpa membicarakan personalisasi pembelajaran which is based on the real experience yang empiris mahasiswa dan siswa, Saya rasa itu nggak cukup kuat. Makanya mungkin salah satu kelemahan kita ini adalah kita kurang mengeksplorasi clue-clue yang lebih tinggi kayak tadi ya. Karena saya ya itu saya selalu bilang conventional meaning itu bridge antara language and emotions karena justru dengan itulah kita harus ke area yang lebih tinggi and we can personalize our experience lalu baru di situ kita ngelihat bahwa mahasiswa kita itu ya mungkin berlatih kan kita di pendidikan kita jarang melatih orang untuk menulis sebenarnya ya kan we simply focus on rote memorization again and again gitu jadi bagaimana mungkin kita bisa nyampe higher order thinking skills, ya creative thinking. Kalau kita tidak fokus pada apa namanya low cues, high high cues yang tadi itu. Jadi gambaran saya mungkin secara pendek tentang biology of meaning sampai situ dulu ya, Pak Nizar. Thank you for the questions.
Is it okay if I ask you one more question? Is it
Okay,
this is
sure.
still related to previous one?
Yeah,
So
sure.
when they learn in multisensory learning, do they have to learn about traditional grammar or not, Pak? Traditional grammar.
So definitely no. Justru disitulah kelebihan kelebihan yang dimiliki oleh multisensory learning, multisensory call lah kita mau menyebutnya. Karena buat kami grammar itu secondary to emotions, vocabulary adalah secondary to emotions. Jadi yang harus kita kembangkan itu justru adalah suasana kelas yang memperkaya suasana batin, ya kan? Ruang sekolah, ruang kelas, ruang parkir, ruang belajar, ruang WC yang memperkaya imajinasi. Kita kan selama ini kehilangan momen untuk membangun itu semua, right? Anak-anak SMA di sekolah mana parkirnya kok bayar misalnya, WC-nya kok kotor. Jadi bagaimana mungkin apa namanya high clue tentang emotion itu bisa jalan kalau lingkungan fisiknya itu tidak mendukung. Namun ini juga sebenarnya refleksi buat kita semua gitu ya. Bagaimana mungkin kita bisa menulis dengan baik kalau kamar kita berantakan kayaknya nggak mungkin. Ya semua psikolog dunia terbaik termasuk Jordan Peterson itu di bukunya salah satunya adalah kalau kalian mau jadi penulis yang hebat, jadi dosen yang hebat, jadi politisi yang hebat, yang harus dikerjakan adalah beresin kamar dulu, bersihin kamar dulu sebersih-bersihnya tiap hari dari kecil gitu kan, bantu dulu orang tua gitu ya. Karena itu akan memberi nuansa magis agar emotional drive-nya itu bagus. Ya, itu satu. Terus keduanya, dalam konteks jurusan kita, eh, ruang-ruang kreatif itu harus dibuka ya. Kita mulai harus terbuka banget ketika mahasiswa kita ya ide-idenya memang di luar nalar kita sebagian misalnya. Kok judulnya lebih ke neuroscience sih? Kok judulnya lebih ke sini ya? Kita mau nggak mau harus nerima gitu. Karena hari ini kalau kita nggak kalau kita hari ini tidak punya mindset interdisipliner, kita sudah kehilangan momentum untuk hidup hebat di abad 21. Sebenarnya itu aja sih pesan moralnya gitu ya dari pembicaraan tentang pendidikan transformatif. Dan betul kata Pak Nizar tadi kalau misalnya ini kan going against the traditional curriculum segala macam. Nah, pertanyaannya hari ini adalah mungkin yang paling pas untuk kita tanyakan, kira-kira kitanya siap berubah apa enggak? Sekolahnya sudah siap berubah apa enggak? Gitu ya. Teknologisasi itu kan harus dipersepsi sebagai instrumen untuk mengembangkan intelektualitas manusia, right? Oke, itu satu. Terus teknologi hanya sebagai alat dan kita sebagai meaning maker-nya kita ya, agent-nya tuh kita. Dan gimana nih mengembangkan agency dalam diri siswa dengan segala keterbatasan, right? Dan tidak ada jawaban hitam putih, makanya kita harus melakukan research dan research lagi. Nah, saya juga research tentang AI, lalu tentang integrasi AI dengan reading for emotion, dan ini juga sedang berjalan kita butuh blind paper rating lagi. Kira-kira hasilnya nih seperti apa nih ketika dibandingkan di kelas-kelas tradisional. Karena jujur aja, genre based approach di Australia juga nggak sukses sebenarnya. Di Amerika juga nggak sukses gitu. Jadi di tempat kelahirannya dalam tanda kutip juga sekarang udah banyak yang mengkritik. Nah, kita tuh sebenarnya sedang contesting genre-based approach dengan cara yang paling apa ya, paling masuk akal buat kami lah. Karena tugas kita itu kan adalah menyempurnakan yang menurut kita ya belum sempurna gitu. Dan itu bagian dari perjalanan intelektual kita semua gitu ya. Dan saya rasa perjalanan intelektual itu kan dipersyaratkan ya sebenarnya di dalam konteks hari ini Sinta juga sudah melihat ekspertis kita masa sama terus kayak semua orang gitu kan. Jadi ada semacam spesifikasi baru yang harus dikembangkan. Berarti ya keilmuan kita harus baru, mesin pedagogi kita harus baru, mesin intelektualitas kita juga harus baru. Nah, kira-kira kawan-kawan ini eh, bisa nggak membangun kebaruan dengan segala keterbatasan misalnya, under resource itulah. Alright, so itu mungkin Pak Nizar yang bisa saya share ya. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Palala, uh, for insightful answers, and I do agree that we have to have a different paradigm of
Yeah,
thinking, that we do not have to accept what already, or we do not have to accept the status quo in
right,
terms
right,
of knowledge, in terms of in terms of paradigm or approach. We have to see things differently.
right.
However, it should also be uh, we should also on board on the idea itself, even
Right.
though it's probably proven scientifically. But if we do not really abroad on the idea of this concept or whole new paradigm,
Yeah,
we might not be able to proceed further
yeah,
in our research. That's also what I'm still finding for my own voice, Palala. So I'm still seeking
yeah, yeah.
which area of interest that I am going to into, and I'm still going to on that way. Uh, Everyone, is there anyone here else to wants to ask questions, or that's it? Okay, apparently it's already
So I
almost 2 hour,
was,
Palala.
yeah,
Yeah,
all right.
it's almost 2 hour,
Almost.
and I think it's enough for this episode. And thank you very much, Palala, for very insightful talks. And thank you also for audience who have participated in this episode. I and the we all here expect everyone to welcome or to invite your friends to also join other our episodes, because starting from now until the rest of the year, we have another session for each month. So we are going to have
Yep.
different speaker for each month. So everyone, please stay tuned to our YouTube channel and also to our session of discussion of ELTRIS.
All
Thank you
right.
very much.
Thank you very much.
That's it for today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Oh, lupa Pak Nizar, saya bilang tadi Pak Andrew Lyon kirim salam nge-WA saya. Katanya ada acara di jurusan. Linknya
Ya,
minta dikirim, cuman beliau lagi meeting gitu ya dengan orang-orang Jepang kalau nggak salah. So, salam buat teman-teman semua dan gelorakan acara-acara besar ini ya karena satu-satunya mungkin UIN yang punya acara Eltris di jurusan dengan Esjakol ya cuma jurusan tadi bahasa Inggris saja. Jadi ini adalah pemanasan buat Esjakol kawan-kawan. Thank you Pak Wahid dan kawan-kawan yang sudah hadir membersamai. Boleh di-share ke kawan-kawan semua ya. Kita akan jadi host untuk acara besar nanti bulan November. Dan submission-nya itu udah dibuka sebenarnya sejak tanggal 25. Kita akan tutup submission di bulan Mei kalau nggak salah. Jadi selama Lebaran, liburnya agak lama, monggo disiapkan abstrak terbaiknya. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
ya, waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya close ya Bapak Ibu. Saya izin.